Welcome to episode 3 of The Real Estate Truth. We've got Don Perry back. Welcome back.
Thank you.
One thing I think we should talk about today is the real estate cycle. You come out with this graph every year, sometimes multiple times a year, on the economic real estate cycle. We've got a link to this below, so feel free to pull it up and follow along. But without further ado, Don, why don't you take it away and talk about the cycle?
Well, it all started, I started doing the graph in 04, 05, when I realized how important the real estate cycle was. I've experienced about 6 recessions since I started in the business. The first one I experienced was in 74 and 75, where we had the Middle East oil embargo. 81, 82, we had stagflation. 87 to 92, we had the Gulf War and the Black Monday, the largest stock market drop in history, one day, 24% down. 2001, 2003, we had the dot-com bust, and we had 9/11. 2008 and to 2011, we had the subprime real estate bust. And then in 20, we had the virus bust. It was very short. So what happens about every 10 years, a real estate recession comes. In the Bible, they talk about the 7 years of plenty and the 7 years of famine, and I think that's true today in real estate. So the cycles have been with us over 200 years from what history I've been able to determine. And this time is never different. There'll always be a cycle. The interesting thing about the cycle is you cannot predict when it's going to come. It actually comes when you least think it's going to come. But you can, so you can't predict it, but you can prepare for it. And so when I did the chart, what I realized is you can't predict when it's going to come, but you can put on the chart where you are today.
So where are we today?
Well, I think we're on if you think of the clock, I think we're at about 3 o'clock on the down cycle in a cycle. Rule number 1, most things will be cyclical. Rule number 2, some of the greatest opportunities for gain and loss will come when people forget rule number 1. So cycles will always prevail. Very few things move in a straight line. They're always self-correcting. And their reversal is not necessarily dependent on exterior events. They reverse because trends create the reason for them to reverse. Success carries within itself the seeds of failure, and failure the seeds of success. Cycles will never stop recurring. The worst loans are made in the best times. Ignoring cycles and extrapolating trends is one of the most dangerous things an investor can do. Extremes do not occur often, but when they do, they can create the largest of errors. There's a crash, a significant crash, about every 15 years. Pendulum. It's another little chart I did. It talks about the cycle movement in the markets. It behaves like a pendulum. And it's always going back and forth. It always goes between euphoria and depression, celebrating positive developments, obsessing over negatives. We go from underpriced to overpriced, greed to fear, optimistic to pessimistic, risk tolerance to risk aversion. One of the most dependable features of the investment world is the pendulum is always moving. We never know how far it's going to move and when it reverses course. Impossible to tell the timing. That's one thing I've learned. Anybody that thinks they can predict the timing is 100% of the cases going to be wrong. The complexity is increasing at an even faster speed, which makes the event occur quicker when you're least expecting it. There's a saying that we have a rising tide lifts all ships. That's in the good markets. And then, as Warren Buffett said, you never know who's swimming naked till the tide runs out in the bad markets. So they'll always be with us. We need to be keenly aware of it and make it part of our investment decision. Appreciate the chance to talk about it.
Of course.
Very important.
Yeah. Well, is that all for today?
That's all for today.
Anything else?
No, just remember it.
Just remember it. All right. And go to work. Go to work.